Hello, my name is Francheska Nieves. I'm a fifth-year PhD student in the neuroscience program at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. I'm also part of the science policy group. As part of the science policy group, we've met different people in the science policy community, and we were drawn to the idea of meeting more people. So we decided to start a video series to give opportunity to other people across the country to talk to us. So to start off the series, I would like to present our current president, Serrano. She's a fifth-year PhD student in material chemistry here at the U of I, and she has been involved in our group since the beginning. So with further ado, I'll Kaylee add anything else she would like to add about herself.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I'm just excited to be here and answer some questions.
Great. So how did you become interested in science policy?
Well, my interest was somewhat coincidental, I think. So I started volunteering with the science policy group last year as more of an advisor to help set up sustainable governance structures of the group when it first started, because I had some past leadership experiences with the American Chemical Society as an undergraduate and then again as a graduate student. So when I really became interested in science policy was when I went on the first trip with the group to Springfield. So the purpose of this trip was to introduce ourselves as a new group to local politicians at the state capitol for the first time. And we wanted to identify ways that our group might be able to get more hands-on experience, maybe by helping local politicians, but also to find politicians that were interested in mentoring emerging scientists and engineers that come from our group. So on this trip, it was the first time I really got to see the impact of research on the creation of public policy firsthand and just that interplay. So I got hooked right away.
Awesome. So I bet with all of these exposures, you've realized that science policy doesn't have a straight description. So how would you describe science policy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You can describe it in a lot of different ways, but what I like to think of it is as this entire domain of public issues that involve science. So for example, you could think of funding of scientific research, translation of scientific discoveries into commercial products and technologies, like weapons development, healthcare, environmental monitoring, or like energy policy, pesticides, and food even. So there's a really broad purview of topics that this can fall under. And I would say that careers in science policy are largely based on communication. So communicating science to policymakers and communicating policy to scientists. For example, many elected officials aren't experts in science, so they hire expert advisors to provide balanced scientific information about all sides of the issues, so they can make an informed vote on different issues. But beyond that, scientists can also be active in policy outside of a career in science policy. So on the simplest level, you can have training so that researchers can communicate their science to the public as an outreach of the research. So this is just important in general to improve public understanding of the scientific method and peer review and reproducibility of results. But beyond that, scientists can be proactive in their political process. They can help educate voters about science-related issues, and they can even attend town halls or keep up with current regulations or policies that relate in their field.
That's a great way to segue into the next question. So we already mentioned you are doing a PhD in material chemistry. So how does your thesis work relate to science policy?
So I would say in a vague way, my thesis work focuses on the development of functional materials. And by material, it's a broad term for things like plastics or metals or fabrics for people that aren't familiar with that. And they're what make up the structure of the modern world. So they're used from everything from like artificial tissues to waterproof coatings on your roof, things like that. And recently there's been a push for materials that have been designed to perform special functions. And these functional materials do things that can store energy, adapt, and respond to the world around them, or heal themselves when damaged. So that's a broad description of what my research is. Now, I would say that my research doesn't directly relate to science policy, but it's a good example of a topic that would need new policies to be written before being incorporated into new commercial products. For example, let's say we have one of these functional materials and we're introducing it to an industry like the aerospace industry. Well, how do we know that it's safe for passenger airplanes? How do we know like what differences there are between this new material and previous materials? How will this material be maintained and disposed of? And so the answers to all these questions are necessary to create policies and they can be found through science.
Oh, that's a perfect description in my opinion. So with this great introduction, I do want you to basically, in your own words, say what the science policy group here at the U of I is and who should join. I feel we've been active for a couple years now, but there's still people out there who don't know who we are, and I think it would be great to hear from a president.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing, and a great thing to include on this introductory video too. So I would describe it as the science policy group here at the University of Illinois was created in response to this national push for training programs for early career scientists and engineers that for people that want to be involved in science policy and advocacy, but are having trouble finding other platforms. There's not a ton of other platforms for career development besides some fellowships and like jumping right into a career. So we're a nonpartisan group that provides a lot of different opportunities to learn about policy and get hands-on experience in a way that's not that's just like an informal, friendly environment to learn. So our group, I would say it's divided into 3 main committees that provide high quality programming to our members. The first committee seeks to inform members about science policy and current topics and government processes, so really education. And we do this through panel discussions, reading groups, invited lectures, and things like that. And then the second committee of our group equips members with the skills they might need to pursue a career in science policy, so potentially as a career, but if they want to pursue policy in other ways, it's just basically skill sets that are useful for interfacing with policy. And this we do by a variety of different hands-on workshops, networking, certificate programs that we're trying to start. And then the third committee focuses on actual advocacy of nonpartisan change in policies relating to science. So for example, call a rep days, trips to the state capitol, like I talked about before, attending town hall meetings and things like that. So anyone that's interested in learning more about science policy is welcome to come to the group. There's a lot of various like reasons that people join just to learn more versus, oh, I know I want a career in science policy. So beyond that though, yeah, we offer a lot of opportunities to prepare for policy and get experience in advocacy.
So I think that was a great plug. As full disclosure, I'm part of the Professional Development Committee, so we hope to keep this video series to help people show, again, the variety of professions and jobs you can do within science policy. And with that, I want to thank Kaylee for being the very first video and for giving us her time. And bye.